Jill Duggar, a celebrity on the television show TLC, has astonished her followers by revealing that she has maintained her maiden name despite her continuing conflict with her parents. The former cast member of Counting On has been public about the fact that she has ideas that are different from those of her parents, Jim Bob, 58, and Michelle, 57, and she has criticized them in her most recent memoir, Counting the Cost. In a statement that was made on Wednesday, Jill, who is 32 years old, revealed that she did not remove the name Duggar from her legal name after she married her husband, Derek Dillard, who is 34 years old, in June of 2014. The information was shared with her fans through an Instagram story post, in which she also urged them to purchase her memoir. In the beginning of the post, the reality star mentioned that her name was Jill Duggar Dillard, despite the fact that her Instagram username did not include the word Duggar anywhere. Reveals that are terrific. Jill's opinions against her parents were made clear in her book, and much more so in the documentary series Shiny Happy People, which was shown on Amazon Prime. In the series, Jill, Derek, and her cousin Amy, who is 37 years old, gave interviews in which they criticized the Duggar family's maternal and paternal figures. In her book, Jill revealed the secrets and manipulation that viewers of the family's reality television series 19 Kids and Counting and its spin-off Counting On did not see. She also revealed the red flags that led her and Derek to leave the Institute in Basic Life Principles, TLC church, which her family is a part of, in 2017. The discredited preacher Bill Gothard, who taught children to closely follow their parents, was the driving force behind her parents' stringent standards, including their clothing code. He was also the founder of the International Bilingual Learning Program, TLC. Jill disclosed further information on the unjust doctrines of the church as well as her elder brother Josh's 12-year jail term in 2022 for child pedophilia, which resulted in her becoming estranged from her parents. According to the television personality, "Watching the way my parents protected my brother, it's still hard to swallow," she stated in the episode of Shiny Happy People. Family get together. On the other hand, on social media, Jill's brother James posted pictures of the family getting together, which gave the impression that the renowned family had set their disagreements aside for the holidays. On Christmas Day, Jill and Derek were captured in a photograph standing in the kitchen of her parents' house in Arkansas. Other photographs captured the family gathered in various locations throughout the house, including around the dining table. Israel, who is 8 years old, Samuel, who is 5 years old, and Frederick, who is 1 year old, were also there. Rebellious Duggar. Jill is sometimes referred to as the rebel in the family because she consistently disobeys the strict standards that her parents have established. This includes wearing clothes that is considered to be immodest, acquiring a nose ring, and putting her children in public school. Regarding the excessive expectations that her family had for her, she stated the following in an interview with People magazine in the year 2020. "Our control to choose what jobs we were allowed to accept and even where we were allowed to live was taken away from us. The first few years of our marriage, we spent time and money working towards opportunities only to hit a dead end when we'd be told, 'Well, you're not allowed to do that,' Derek said to me." Jill Duggar, the second oldest daughter in the large Duggar family made famous by the reality show 19 Kids and Counting, has long been a figure of both admiration and controversy. Over the years, she has stood out from her siblings for being one of the first to break away from her parents' strict rules and chart her own path. This journey of independence took on greater significance when Jill and her husband, Derek Dillard, publicly distanced themselves from the Duggar family in 2017, specifically from her father, Jim Bob Duggar. The estrangement between Jill and her parents became a hot topic, especially as Jill began speaking out about her upbringing, questioning the authority and control her father held over her life well into adulthood. Despite her candid revelations about the family dynamics and the clear tension that has defined her relationship with her parents in recent years, Jill recently made a surprising admission that has left fans both shocked and intrigued. In a recent interview, Jill disclosed that she has deliberately chosen to keep the Duggar family name, even though many expected her to fully disassociate from her past. To many, it seemed inevitable that Jill would eventually drop the famous surname, especially given the deep rift between her and her family. However, her decision to retain the name has sparked discussion about her identity, her past, and the weight that a last name can carry, especially when it belongs to one of the most famous families in America. A family in the spotlight. The Duggar family first entered the public eye in the early 2000s, with a series of television specials that eventually evolved into the full-blown reality series, 19 Kids and Counting. The show highlighted the everyday lives of Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar and their ever-expanding brood of children, all raised according to the family's deeply religious values. Jill quickly became a fan favorite due to her nurturing role as an older sister, her wholesome demeanor, and her budding romance with Derek, which was meticulously documented on the show. However, as the show grew in popularity, so did scrutiny on the Duggar family's strict religious lifestyle, their rigid rules, and particularly the overarching control Jim Bob had over his children. From courtships arranged under strict supervision to gender-specific roles, the Duggars presented a highly curated image of Christian family life that didn't allow much room for individuality, especially for their daughters. Jill, like her sisters, grew up adhering to a strict code of conduct that involved modest dress, limited social interactions, and an emphasis on marriage and motherhood. But even though she followed the path laid out for her marrying young, starting a family, and living a life aligned with her parents' values, her journey took a sharp turn as she and Derek began to distance themselves from the Duggar family brand. Breaking away from the Duggar mold. In 2017, Jill and Derek made headlines when they stepped away from the family's spin-off show, Counting On. Though initial reports suggested that the couple simply wanted to focus on other endeavors, it soon became clear that there was much more going on behind the scenes. Derek, in particular, was vocal on social media, hinting at financial disputes and the controlling nature of Jill's parents, specifically Jim Bob. Derek claimed that Jill had not been paid for her appearances on the family's reality show, and this revelation led to an outpouring of support from fans who sympathized with Jill's plight. As time went on, Jill became more open about the difficulties she faced within her family. She revealed that her decision to distance herself wasn't easy, but it was necessary for the sake of her mental health and marriage. She and Derek had also decided to raise their children differently from how she was raised, adopting a more open-minded approach to parenting that starkly contrasted with her own upbringing. In an interview with People magazine in 2020, Jill made it clear that while she still loved her family, there were boundaries that needed to be respected. She spoke about the emotional toll the estrangement had taken on her, but also emphasized that she was committed to protecting her family and forging a new path. This candidness endeared her even more to fans, many of whom saw her as a courageous figure breaking free from an oppressive system. The surprising choice to keep the Duggar name, given Jill's public split from her parents and the Duggar family as a whole, many assumed that she would eventually drop the Duggar name entirely. Her husband, Derek, had been particularly vocal about his issues with Jim Bob, and it seemed logical that Jill would fully embrace her married name Dillard as a way to further distance herself from her past. However, Jill's recent admission that she has chosen to keep the Duggar name came as a surprise to many. In a YouTube video where she answered fan questions, Jill explained her reasoning for retaining the Duggar surname. She acknowledged that while her relationship with her parents remains strained, her last name is still a significant part of her identity. Jill shared that the Duggar name is inextricably tied to her personal journey, both the good and the bad, and that to completely abandon it would feel like erasing a part of who she is. I've had a lot of people ask me why I haven't changed my last name completely, especially after everything that's happened, Jill said in the video. The truth is, no matter what, I'm still a Duggar. That's where I come from. It's part of my story, and I don't want to erase that. For many fans, Jill's decision to keep the Duggar name speaks volumes about the complexities of family ties and personal identity. While she has publicly criticized aspects of her upbringing and has made efforts to live life on her own terms, she still acknowledges the deep connection she has to her family, even if that connection is fraught with tension. By choosing to keep the Duggar name, Jill is perhaps signaling that she is at peace with her past, even if it is not something she fully embraces. The power of a last name. A surname is more than just a label. It carries with it a legacy, a sense of history, and, in many cases, a reflection of one's place in the world. For Jill Duggar, her last name is tied to a reality TV empire, a strict religious upbringing, and a public life filled with both adoration and scrutiny. To shed the Duggar name entirely would be to sever a connection to the family that made her who she is, even if that family has caused her pain. Some fans have speculated that Jill's decision to keep the Duggar name might also be practical. The Duggar name is still recognized around the world, and keeping it could serve as a way to maintain her visibility and relevance, especially as she continues to build her own platform outside of her family's influence. The Duggars have always been a brand, and Jill, whether intentionally or not, remains tied to that brand. However, Jill has made it clear that her choice is not about fame or recognition, but rather about owning her story. In the same YouTube video, she reflected on how the Duggar name is tied to her experiences, both the challenges she's faced and the strength she's gained. "I'm proud of the person I've become, and that includes where I came from," Jill said. "I'm not going to run away from my last name just because it's complicated. Life is complicated, and that's okay." Fan reactions, shock, support, and speculation. Jill's admission that she has chosen to keep the Duggar name has elicited a wide range of reactions from fans. Some expressed shock, believing that Jill had fully separated from her past, and were surprised to learn that she still holds on to a name that is so closely tied to the very family she has distanced herself from. On social media, many fans voiced their support for Jill, praising her for being open about the complicated emotions tied to family dynamics. "Jill has every right to keep her name if that's what she wants," one fan wrote on Instagram. "Her journey is her own, and it's inspiring to see her own it, even the messy parts." Others speculated that Jill's choice might be influenced by a desire to maintain a relationship with her siblings, even if her relationship with her parents is strained. The Duggar family has remained close-knit in many ways, and despite Jill's estrangement, she has been seen in photos with some of her siblings over the years. Some fans theorize that keeping the Duggar name could be Jill's way of keeping the door open for future reconciliation, not just with her parents, but with her brothers and sisters as well. However, not all reactions were positive. Some critics questioned why Jill would want to continue associating with a name that has brought her so much pain and controversy. "It just seems like she's holding on to the past," one commenter wrote. "I don't understand why she wouldn't want a clean break from everything that caused her so much hurt." A complex legacy. Jill Duggar's decision to keep her family's last name despite the estranged relationship with her parents is a testament to the complicated nature of family ties. While she has made great strides in carving out a life that is separate from the Duggar family empire, her choice to retain the Duggar name reflects a recognition that her past is an integral part of who she is. For fans who have followed Jill's journey, her admission adds another layer of complexity to her narrative. She is not just the rebellious Duggar daughter who broke free from her parents' strict rules. She is a woman who acknowledges the weight of her family's legacy while continuing to forge her own path.